I'm Steve, and we're going to talk about the TIME ADHX 45. I built this bike up and riding it through the fall. So far, I'm loving it, and I wanted to share it with you. We're going to talk about the frame, drivetrain, wheels, tires, cockpit. We'll talk about my specific build. We'll wrap up with what I think about the bike. This is not a stock build from TIME. We ordered frames in, and we built them up. I built this one up specifically for me to ride. And some of the other gravel bikes that I've spent a significant amount of time on would be a couple of Trek Checkpoints, RLT9 RDO, Salsa Warbird, Bianchi Archidex, Cervelo Aspero, Jamis Renegade. And then, of course, having a shop, we get our hands on a lot of different bikes that are out there. So let's talk about the frame. It'll fit 45 millimeter tires. I've got some 44s on here right now. Comparative to, say, like a 9er RLT9 RDO, this head tube is a little steeper. The frame I'm riding is a medium, and I would usually ride 56 centimeter frames. It actually fits me really nice. The frame's designed for everything to run through the headset. Inside the bottom bracket is a little cable routing, like a housing stops, so that you can still run mechanical cables. This one's electronic shift, but I'm actually building up a Campy ECAR one for somebody right now. As far as mounting points on the frame, it's your standard 2 bottle cages, and that's it. This is not a bike packing bike. This is not an adventure gravel bike. This is a sporty, racy feeling gravel bike. The one I'm riding does not have a universal derailleur hanger. If you've been paying attention and following along with TIME Bicycles, they just added the universal derailleur hanger to the TIME ADHX 45s. This frame was manufactured prior to that. There's no fork mounts for like mounting bags off of your fork. There's no mounts to mount fenders or racks off the back of the bike either. It does have the mounting bolts for a bolt-on top tube bag. I currently have mine set up with just a standard stem on it, and the cables are kind of routing out the top of the headset there. I'm typically going to flip my bikes over, so someone is going to end up with this bike after I'm done reviewing it and testing it. Then we're going to set it up for however they want it set up. Let's talk about what it's rolling on. We're rolling on a set of Head Emporia GA Pros with some Vitoria Mezcal 44s. It's actually my first time riding these Mezcal 44s. My son, he was telling me that they were fast, that he really liked them. They were confident. If you're in the 44, 45 millimeter tire range, these should be up there in one of your tire options to take a peek at. Just like their XC version, these tires roll real fast. As far as the Emporia GA Pros, they're a pretty popular wheel in our shop. All right, time for the drivetrain. 10 to 44 tooth cassette, SRAM Force Explorer derailleur, SRAM Force wide crank in it. This is the older SRAM Force crank, bolt-on power meter spider. SRAM Force hoods and your brakes. These are the D1 version. Personally, I like the D1 shape of the hoods better than the D2 shapes. My hope is that we're going to see a update on the Force stuff here at some point to match some of the ergonomics of that new red stuff that got released last year. For the bottom bracket, I have a Thread Together Wheels Manufacturing bottom bracket in there. I also had a set of ceramic speed bearings that fit the Dove bottom bracket. They were actually on my 9er RLT9 that I had been riding the last few years. They're fantastic bearings, easy to service. They roll really fast. You can't wear them out. So I actually put those bearings into that bottom bracket shell. Let's talk about the cockpit and the touch points of the bike. I've got this Easton EC70 seat post on it. I really like this seat post. It's a common seat post for us to use in the shop when we're doing custom builds. I like that you can adjust the angle of the seat independent from loosening up the seat rails. Pretty cool. I just have like some standard stem on it right now that we had sitting in the shop. There's a couple different aftermarket stems that you can run to run your cables up through the stem. Wasn't necessary for me to do that. So I left them open. I left a little extra housing on there. So when I do set it up for some, then we'll set it up for them how they want. This is the Easton EC90 AX bar. We really like this bar. It's got a little bit of a kind of a flatness flare on the top, and the drops feel really nice on it. We've put this on a lot of gravel bikes for people. Bar tape, this is just some cheap Shimano's Pro brand cork bar tape. It's pretty good. I've had a few different seats on this. This is just one of our Selly test seats that I've been trying out, and it just kind of It looks pretty good with a white tape, but this is not the seat that I've generally been riding on. It was one I just put on here for a ride. You can see I got a couple of bags on there. I can fit an extra bottle in this bag if I wanted to. I really like this bike. This bike is fantastic. This is probably has become one of my more favorite bikes to ride. I like that I can ride it anywhere on the gravel, take it out on the road. I like that it still has a sporty feel to it. I like how the bike rides, the quality of the frame. If my goal was bike packing and adventure gravel, this is not the bike. You are going to ride gravel like you would as a road bike, and you want a sporty feeling bike, this is it. Or if you just like a really high quality bike, this is the frame to get. It's a super fun bike to ride. If you need a bike that you want to put racks on it and fenders and that type of thing, there's other bikes for that. We're a Cervelo and Bianchi dealer as well. So if you were looking at, say, like an Aspero 5, because you're going to pay some good money for that, or one of the top spec Impulsos from Bianchi, you should also consider a custom build of one of these TIME ADHX 45 in that mix. I'll be sharing a couple of their builds. We've got this same frame in red that we're building up in a 1x13 speed Campanola Ekar build. That bike is sold, but I'll do a quick review on it and showcase that custom build before it goes out the door. That'll be very soon. And then the last one that we have is that blue. We've got a small blue TIME ADHX 45. That's the last of the closeout frames without the universal derailleur hanger. I will share that as well once we get that built up and on the floor. As I mentioned, the new TIME ADHX 45 frames have that universal derailleur hanger. I think that's a great candidate. That bike is for that 13-speed SRAM Explorer group set with the transmission drive derailleur. Stay tuned for some of those builds coming later this spring. If you're interested in getting one of these built up, let us know. Tell us kind of how you want to use the bike, what you have in mind. We'll do the legwork. We'll put together the options and get you something over and let you know what we can get the bike built for. Thanks for tuning in.